A lot of you guys liked the other video with Farron's animation for studying, so we're gonna do the same thing this week, but I'm gonna be doing the Itano Circus. I feel like that's such a cool principle, and I've always wanted to like animate it properly, so that's what we're gonna do. Itano Circus is one of those animation effects that almost everyone has seen, and when you've seen it, it's blown you away, and it's like immediately got your attention. Itano Circus is also known as a missile circus, and it's essentially a Sakuga animation effect that usually involves a very dynamic camera following the trajectory of multiple missiles or projectiles. The effect is very recognizable and creates a lot of immersion and a very strong impression on the viewer. So the person who actually created this is called Itano, and he's a very influential animator. He completely changed the animation industry. From his entry point, you can even see like the changes if you go back and like look at older animation clips from before he was there. Some of the fight scenes were pretty like primitive.
Ichiro Itano is not a one-trick pony. He revolutionized the way action scenes are depicted in anime. He entered the industry in an age when battles routinely looked like this. So you got cuts of things shooting, cuts of things getting shot at. It's pretty boring, right? And the camera is far removed from the action. Stuff is just moving.
I would really recommend watching that video. They play a lot of examples. If you want to know more about the history, it's very interesting. But in this video, I won't be explaining too much theory. I just want to actually explore the principle itself, how it works, and how we can like analyze it and break it down so that we can learn it, or I can learn it. I'm trying to learn it. So these are the animations that we're going to be breaking down. The first one is made by a Webtoon animator. Unfortunately, I don't know this guy's name anymore. I tried to go back and find him, but I just couldn't. I will end up linking it if I find him later on. But yeah, and the second one is it's from a Sakuga video. It's really, really cool. Alright, so I let them play each 3 times. So this first one is very interesting because you have all these missiles and they're like going in this general direction. That's the first thing I noticed, is that Itano missiles usually follow a general direction. So everything here you're gonna see is moving towards the right and getting smaller. So all of these guys moving towards the right, getting smaller. And then the camera moves a bit closer. That's imitating obviously the camera getting, either the missiles going further away or the camera getting pushed, or like getting pushed further away. And then the animator decides to pull everything back in, so you see the perspective changes and everything is like getting sucked back in. I don't know why I said that so hard. Getting sucked. Anyway, we go into one of the fires. This is such a cool effect, to be honest. And that's kind of what you can do with the Itano missiles. It's kind of like there's not really any rules. Once you know the basic principles and everything makes sense, it doesn't really matter what you do. I want to talk about the beginning a little bit more because he animates on ones, and he has this. The first missile, he introduces it to us like very, very slowly. It comes up here and it's big and close to the camera for pretty much a while, and he just slowly shifts it to the side as it scales down, which is very cool. So this is like one of the main ones that you want to focus on. This missile pretty much leads the momentum of everything, and you'll find that too in like a lot of Itano videos, is that there's usually one missile that's like the leader, the alpha missile or something, I don't know. And everything like usually follows that. And then you can see like this purple one doesn't get as much attention. It gets 1 or 2 frames and then it's out of the way. And that kind of makes sense. This is kind of what you would expect out of Itano missiles. Like stuff that's closer to you obviously moves so much faster than something further away, just because of how like perspective works, you know? So this purple missile goes out in 1, 2, 3, it's gone, and then it's like tiny. Same thing with this red and orange. They come up for like 2 frames. He even like introduces 2 missiles at the same time, which is really cool. It makes it not boring like to watch. And they get small like pretty much instantly. But yeah, animating on ones for stuff like this makes it incredibly dynamic, where you can have a missile like come in like that and it'll be like when I flip through it, it looks a bit slow, but when you feel it, it's like really fast and it feels amazing. But yeah, he's keeping that momentum and everything's following that rhythm of the camera, where it's like moving, or it's either the camera or the first missile, whichever you want to look at it. They're both the same. So they're all following that first missile and then they're coming back and then going again. There's one more thing I want to talk about with this one. When he does this thing and we go inside the fire, this is actually one of my favorite things that he did. This kind of blew my mind the first time I saw it, because once you reach like this point where you exit the missile, the frame is empty, like almost empty, and you have like a reset point where you can do pretty much wherever you want. And that's what he does. He goes like insanely crazy here. He goes whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Look at that. And that's something that I end up doing in my own personal one later on. But yeah, I just wanted to comment on that because that's very cool. He keeps like a general space of where everything is. So like the green one is further away because it was the first one to move in that direction. But everything can get mixed up and he's moving stuff like all around and in every direction. And it's very, very entertaining to watch. But yeah, I think that's all I have to say for that one. I picked this one and the next reference because they're so different, because this one is so much more realistic. So I'll just play it for like twice. No, go back. So yeah, this guy, he introduces everything like a lot more methodically. Everything here is a lot like cleaner, a lot more direct. So he has the missiles come in on one frame, and then on the next frame he shows you like the fire part. I would consider this the first frame, the fire. So he has 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it's gone. Maybe 5. We can count this one too, and then look how far it's gone. And those are on ones, by the way, so that's really, really fast. Generally you wanna keep like, he has like 1, 2, 3, 4. He has 4 frames here. You want to keep that amount of frames there because you want the viewer to make that connection of like, oh, that's a missile. Like to actually see it. If you make it too fast, it might be hard to keep track of. And he does that for all of the missiles there. Oops, sorry. So the first one, 5 frames and it's gone. And then he changes its direction, kind of like what we saw with the other one, where it's like a direction of the other one was a lot more dramatic though. But here's what you can see. It's kind of like making room for other missiles too, the way it happens. And then the other missiles come and they also fall in line, following that same first momentum. And then this one, he's like creating a gap here almost, and introducing a lot of stuff that goes like whoosh, like that, which is very, very interesting. And they pretty much become dots when they're that far away, and they move so little between frames. That makes a lot of sense. Again, like stuff that's farther away. I feel like these are simple principles, but I just iterate them because in practice, like animating this, it's so much harder than just looking at it. I struggled a lot doing this, but it was very fun. But yeah, this one, he has 1, 2, 3, and then gone. So he changes up the momentum too. That's something you really want to do. And it's a sign of like very good animation, is that something's not predictable. The momentum's always changing and you can't really second guess it. So this one is 1, 2, 3. And that's pretty much 2. Just 2 frames and it's gone. 1, 2. 1, 2, yeah. So there's a pattern here where everything at the beginning is so much slower, and then towards the end they're like getting knocked out so much faster. So these ones were both 3 frames each, and that one was 2. I think the next one's, so that's a 3 right there. But yeah. And what you want to do also, this is a mistake I made, you don't want to move the missiles too much. You want them to stay like static, they can get smaller and the smoke can get can move around a little bit, but you don't want to move it too much, otherwise it'll look like a bunch of snakes. Even he does it here, like there's a direction change and only like the tip of the missile will move. Everything else remains static. If it's moving, it's just the effect of the camera moving, which is pushing back the smoke, if that makes sense. It's hard to explain. Like when you animate this and you study it a lot, you start to understand like why he did some of the stuff he did. And that is beautiful. That's so nice. It's like a reset, like the other one exactly. He clears out the frame and all of these tiny ones disappear. And then you just have those big ones to focus on. And again, that same cycle of like new ones come in from here. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all I have to say. Let's just go do studies. I don't want to talk for too long. I think I already did. So I just finished doing the studies. This was the last one that I did, which was the one I went over with you guys. I compiled them all into a PureRef folder, so here are all the studies combined. So this one is the one that we reviewed together. It's the one I spent the most time studying. I actually studied it twice, just because I feel like there's so much information in there and it's hard to absorb that all just in one try. And then these bottom two are the other reference that I showed. Yeah, and everything over here, like all of this stuff, this is all basically me trying to pull out what I kind of understood and testing my knowledge with the stuff. So you can see with this one at the beginning I was a bit confused with like the trails and how they're supposed to go, and here I get like a bit better with that, but still I'm still lacking the knowledge that you can't just move the trails this much. Like the way I'm moving them here, they're independent from each other, and that really breaks the illusion of them being like missiles or whatever, because they're not moving together and they're not focused towards a target. So yeah, these are just things that I learned. This one is very like heavily inspired by this. You can even see a lot of the resemblances, but this was like a 10-20 minutes study just to see if I was absorbing or not. And then this last one was it's pretty much what I plan to do for my actual animation, where I actually like full on animate like a proper sequence. But yeah. Okay, so I just finished the last animation. Yeah, I'm tired. So I'll just show you guys pretty much the actual animation. I have it here. So this is pretty much combining everything that I learned. It was very fun to do, very exhausting. I tried to do as much as I could, like cram as much knowledge that I learned into this animation, and I added like this beginning part so it makes it a bit more, so there's like a starting point to it. I don't know what else to say, to be honest. Hopefully like you guys can see all of the stuff that I noticed and how I'm implementing it, and hopefully it helps you with your own work as well. But yeah, I think that's it from me. I hope you end up like liking this. It was a lot of work. And yeah. There we go. This is all the stuff for this video. Thank you guys for watching, and take care.